someone gave me some great advice and said, you're at the age where you really should do some corporate work. Get into a restaurant where there is checklists and systems and have those knowledge sets for you. And so I did that. I made the leap in. I was hired out of Toronto to go out west. They paid me Toronto rates
to go out
in a smaller market.
Right.
And that was a really great experience for me. So, getting that advice was a really key point for me. Getting the right person to talk to and not bitch, but just sort of say,
sure.
I need to try to understand these things. I'm trying to ask questions. There just isn't a textbook of how to do it. And I said, well, actually there is. You just have to work for the right place.
Got it.
So those learning points, I think, I took that step from fine dining and really being in a cool environment, all these celebrities and all these cool things going on, to a chain restaurant that, had burgers and had chicken wings and had bands at night and that kind of stuff. It was a totally different world for me, but it really opened up the doors for me later on in life, and it really resonates still to this day that I got that really good quality training.
So that's a good segue. I wanted to ask you about this because we know, early on you explained, here's the moment I realized I wanted to be a leader. So, and this may correspond with where we're at right now in your story, but as you think about the moment you wanted to become a leader, what was that first thing you did after that? Okay, I've decided I want to be a leader. I don't know exactly what it looks like. I'm young. I haven't got it all figured out yet. I have no idea really what I'm doing. I haven't had any real management training right at the moment. But what was that thing you did after the moment you realized you wanted to be a leader?
I think it was, I'll go back right back again to when I first stepped up and was asked to be a manager, and I was like, absolutely, I'm going to do this. It was, to me, instinctively I put structure into place. This is how things operate. These are the things that you need to do. This is how I want things happening. This is how we talk to our member guests. I think those were the kind of things. I just had that enthusiasm, and I don't know if it was my father or my grandfather or what put that into me.
Sure.
But I think I had the innate reaction to it. When I got older and I got later in life and I got into university and through that, and sort of had some fun and got some knowledge, supposedly.
Right.
I think where I really wanted to, when I really decided that this was the career I was going into, because I think as a lot of people do, I fell into restaurants. I got into the cooking job because I needed a job, and a friend of mine's mom was the kitchen manager and gave me a job and taught me how to cook, and so I just kept going through it, kept developing up, and kept getting these opportunities, and then I finally said, I really enjoy doing it. I'm making good money doing this as a business, as a person.
Right.
It's a career path. This is pretty good. I see some people that I really admire, and had some good managers that had given me great advice, and started to look at it. I think it's one of the hard things in my life that I've had really interesting opportunities that weren't capitalized on because I didn't get the right guidance.
Right.
I could have been a golf pro. I was a pretty damn good golfer. I learned how to play from some of the best golf pros in Ontario at that time, and one of Canada's sort of top golf pros. He was very old at the time, but that structure of it. I saw guys coming up from California that had been doing their scholarships and all of that in the States, but the way they presented themselves, and they really didn't give me the advice to go down to the States and get a scholarship and be a pro golfer. I think I would have had that. I love golf. It was such a great thing. But, when I did get the right advice, it was at the right time. And that helped me make that decision to become a restaurant manager and a restaurant leader. Once that decision was made, I think it really became about education again. How do leaders think? What books do I need to read? You're reading Napoleon Hill. And,
I'm reading Napoleon Hill right now.
Yeah. Me too, actually. It's on my phone.
It's on my phone right now. Let's go on Audible. This is so funny.
That is hilarious, yeah. So,
in his own words.
How to Sell
Yourself. In his own words, what I'm listening to right now.
Okay. I'm reading How to Sell Yourself. So, and it's great. This is advice that's almost 100 years old.
It still is relevant today as it ever was.
Still is relevant today. and it talks a lot about work ethic and all these great things.
I love this.
One of the books that, and I'm going to say this probably a couple of times, but one of the books that really changed my life in the industry was Positively Outrageous Service. Scott Gross. I mean, it really opened my eyes to thinking outside of the box and understanding just the simplicity of it's all about the guest. It really is that guest experience that matters the most, and how can you wow somebody?
Yeah.
It changed my life totally. We actually had a promo that came out of that book. I was running this little restaurant with a guy that started this hamburger restaurant. We were selling fajitas at the time, and a big chain restaurant, it was still local, but they really dominated the market of fajitas, opened up just down the road from us in this massive restaurant, and they were packed. You could not get into the place. 3-hour waits at minimum every single day of the week. Here we are with these really amazing fajitas, but we couldn't get a person in the place. I mean, we were getting almost nobody. So out of the book, there was a story about an Italian restaurant in Texas, actually.
Okay. Of all places.
Of all places. I always think that was the funny part of it, but here we are in an Italian restaurant in Texas.
It's true story.
And he was having a hard time, so he started every Tuesday. He would go to a table and just say, you won today. It's the free table day. And he would make sure everybody heard. He says, it's all complimentary. You just have to tell your friends every Tuesday. It's all random. I don't know who's going to do it, but somebody wins a table. And so it built and it built and it built. So I thought, all right, let's do this a little bit different, go a little bit more outside the box and add some wow factor to it.
Right.
So I grabbed a hot mushroom skillet. Remember the days where everybody would walk around and they'd clap their hands and they'd birthday song and everybody would be doing it. So I said, okay, well, we were still close to that era anyway, and we had a DJ booth and a microphone and lights and all of this stuff. So I got the owner and I said, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you this hot mushroom skillet pan. I've printed a guest check. I want you to go to this table number. It's complimentary tonight. I'm going to be on the microphone announcing what's going on. What I want you to do is light the bill on fire. Someone's going to throw some Zambuca into the pan, and you're going to throw the bill in the pan. Yep, wait for it. So sure enough, I go and I get on the microphone. Welcome to Hoodoo McFiggins on a Thursday night, and I had this whole big radio DJ voice thing, and announced the special, and this is what we're doing. And so they get out there, they get to the table, the Zambuca, and the fireball was about 2-3 feet in the air. Everybody's just going, oh my God, what's this? And so I'm announcing, I go through the whole thing. Your bill is on us, and thanks for coming out. Tell your friends, tell your family, bring everybody next week. And sure enough, we had double the people next week.
Wow.
And same thing happened. And so people were just kind of looking around.
Like waiting to see who was going to be, right?
Waiting to see me go into the DJ booth. And like, oh. And you could see it. They're just tapping each other. Oh, he's going to do it. So sure enough, I did it, and they went out, and it was a table of 4, a table of 2, a table of 6, whatever we did. It didn't matter. It was the effect that mattered. Because how much are you really spending in your food cost to give away a table?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing a promo dollar, let's be real on it. It's going to cost you maybe $20 for a table of 6, maybe a table of 4.
Right.
But the impact was really great, and we actually started getting people coming back regularly. And we started having more fun with it. And the staff had more fun with it because this crazy-ass fireball thing was just...
And I would bet that even the people... There's only one table won.
Yeah.
But even the people who didn't win, they were genuinely happy to see that.
Oh, yeah. They
right?
were just like, oh, my God, look at that. They did it. And it was really funny. And so we would do it a little bit more, and it just kind of bled into other days. We would talk about different promos. We would talk about different events that we're doing. While we're doing this one simple promo, I was talking about everything else we were doing. So, the whole leadership decision and reading those books.
That's right.
And once you get into that, your passion can grow.
Yeah.
And you can have a lot of fun, and you can do crazy things.
So,
according to fire code.
So my first... So my first leadership book that I ever bought, I was 18 years old, and it was from Zig Ziglar, who's a legend, right? He's not a restaurant guy, but he's a business guy, right? So my first book I bought at 18 was called Top Performance. and I still have it. The very first book I ever bought at 18 years old. And I was like, wow, this is like, for me as an 18-year-old kid in 1986, I'm older than you. So it was like groundbreaking for me. You know, as I think about the evolution of the industry, I think about you, I think about something you said a couple minutes ago. I want to ask you about this because what I love about this conversation amongst all that we're talking about, which is so great, you said something a few minutes ago about the career path or the career, I think it was the career path is the term you used.
Yeah.
So is that something that you saw early on? Did you actually hear that term, or are you just applying what happened to you as being that? And the reason I ask is because as I grew up, kind of as we were sharing off podcast, like I didn't see myself as a leader necessarily, but my franchisee, my GM, they saw something in me I didn't see in myself, and it really surprised me until I look back on it now. Like, I was on time or early for every shift. I worked really hard, kept my head down, I did my job, I offered to help, I stayed late, all those things you want to see, right? So
I'm
they saw
a real
something
freak for being on time or early.
Oh
my God,
100%.
It drives me
100%,
absolutely bonkers.
right? And so they saw something in me I didn't see in myself, and right away they got me into management training, hourly management training for McDonald's, but we didn't really have that language that we do now, like around career path, and we're going to talk about culture later, but those words weren't really used in my upbringing, but now as I look back on it, I can say that's what that was, right?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have it clearly defined like we do today.
I think it was direction.
Yes.
Direction would have been the word back in the day.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What direction are you
Yeah, no,
going?
that makes total sense.
And it was sort of, when I got to be a trainer, that it elevated me to the point where I thought, oh, this is awesome, and I can talk to people, and I can do training seminars out west.
So you knew you had opportunity.
Yeah, I think really where the base of it came is that I really enjoyed what I was doing, and I fell into it, but it sort of took over and owned me, and I started to own it by becoming that leader and being able to develop my skills and have a full range of skills. I can be in any part of the restaurant at any point in time, and depending on the concept. I mean, if I was at the Works restaurant and I was hosting at the front door and a burger needed to be flipped, I could see it and I knew it and I could go and do it.
Yep.
Of course. That was just me walking around the restaurant and being aware of everything that's going on. But no, I really think it was, again, I think it was just great advice. And I think that's important that, as we kind of talk of leadership, that you really take the time for the people that work for you and with you to give them the right advice and development. Because you can clearly see, like, certain people have certain traits and potential, and how are you affecting that? Because I look back at my experience of, I could have been a golf pro. I could have been any number of things.
Right.
And I always think back of it. Sometimes I think back of it negatively, and everybody, I missed that opportunity. Wouldn't it have been cool to have been a golf pro in Texas, or Florida? I think it was Florida at the time.
Not this time of year.
Not this time of the year.
Yes.
But I look back at that, and it took the right person to give me the right advice. So I always try to do that in my life now, and it doesn't matter if I'm being paid as a coach or if I'm just helping a friend.
Right.
It's it's the right advice at the right time, and trying to be honest about what you're telling them.
That's right.
And seeing what their skills are and being able to tell them what it is that you see in them. Because a duck is a duck, but they might not be able to cook. I think there's a very truth to it, is that cooks in front of house tend to be different people.
I couldn't agree more.
Cross, right?
I couldn't agree more. I have like two things I want to ask you about along those lines, but like one of them I know to be true. I'm sure you've seen this in your career. I've certainly seen it in mine. We have very similar paths, I think, in some respects. I think that, we were talking about earlier before the interview about how tenure doesn't equal excellence. And I think sometimes people